Hey y'all, welcome back. We have a very special episode of the Manly Musings podcast. We have one of the best former West Virginia power forwards to ever come really play over there in a long time. One guy that Kevin and I definitely watched play, and we're excited to join us, Mr. Kevin Jones. So Kevin, thank you for joining us all the way in Japan.
Yeah. I just literally just woke up, man. It's good to be on here, man. Talk with you guys. So ready for a fun episode.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to hang out with little us. So we appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt, man.
Seriously, I remember transferring to West Virginia and being like, man, who's that really tall dude walking around the stadium as I'm trying to go to class? I'm like, everyone's like, oh, that's Kevin Jones. I'm like, I have no idea who he is. I transferred here. I don't know who he is.
Well,
Where
funny
you
story.
transfer from?
I went to the University of New Hampshire for 2 years and then transferred
Okay.
down to West Virginia.
Got you.
I remember, Kev, I remember seeing you for the first time on MSG. On the MSG network, they had you on like Max Preps. And they
high
were
school,
showing
yeah.
you they were showing your Mount Vernon just beat up on they were just showing your highlights, and they were just talking about how you're going to West Virginia. And I remember vividly they talked about you going there, and you were just absolutely dominating whatever team you were playing against. And then I remember just having to run into you with one of my buddies on my floor, and I'm like, you were on like Max Preps, and you're like, yeah, that was me. And I just remember that ever since. And then every time I always got to see you and say hello, which I always loved.
Hey man, that's crazy. That's how I know like you're a basketball junkie, because nobody really know about Max Preps like that. Unless you were in the city or like the surrounding areas, nobody really knew about that. But that was like the big time thing in high school though, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always fun running into you, man. You was always a good dude. So just now that I could come back full circle is great.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, we appreciate you joining us. It's 8 a.m. for you, so good. We're going to go to bed after this. You got practice and work actually to go to
Right.
today.
I got a full day.
Well, awesome. Well, hey, we'll quickly jump into the sports update. Guys, we're kind of changing it up a little bit now that we have guests on. We're going to focus more on the guests instead of the sports update that sometimes takes half an hour to an hour to go through because we just talk too much. So mainly first weekend of college football is done in the books. Great games last night. Clemson lost to Duke 28-7, surprisingly. FSU beat the crap out of LSU, which is always nice to see. And then I guess we'll talk about our team who went up to Happy Valley. I won $50 because I bet the over. But I don't know how I feel about that one. Now, KJ, were you able to watch the game over in Japan or?
So the game kind of comes on at a weird time. So it was like morning my time. So I couldn't get to watch it, but I did see the highlights of it. I mean, well, low lights, whatever you want to whatever you want to call it. You so I feel two different ways about it. One is like, what did we expect going into number 7 ranked team? Like going into their place, like what did we really expect? But the second is like, I expected us to at least put up a little bit more of a fight than we did. So that I'm like two-sided on that. I don't know what to think about it. So how do we judge that loss? Like I don't know how to judge that.
I'm the same way. I had friends asking me because I watched it with a bunch of people and they're like, what do you expect? I'm like, I expect us to lose. 100% expect us to lose. Do I expect us to lose by 21? No, because I think we're better than that. But we didn't. We lost by 23 technically at the end of the day.
Would have been less than that if they didn't rush to go ahead and try to do that last minute touchdown, which was like kick us when we're down.
That's crazy.
I did not like that. And people were like, oh, how can you be mad? I'm like, because it's unsportsmanlike. It's unsportsmanlike. If you're winning that badly and no one has timeouts left, it's 10 seconds left in the game. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
But I think
from a lot of go ahead, Merritt. I'm sorry.
the first half, they look great. Only to be down 7 going into halftime, unreal against the number 7 team in an environment that, from all sounds of it, was crazy. But we're not that good. It showed in the second half. We're not. We have, of course, per usual, West Virginia secondary is a sieve or Swiss cheese, and yeah, it happens. So we'll see what we can do against a scrub on Saturday.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of like that, like between like 2015 and 2017. You would see like our defense put up a fight for like so long, and they just get to the point where they're just completely exhausted and then lose the game towards the end. But I would say a lot of people who talked to me, they all expected us to get blown out by like 40, but I would say like they put up a fight in the first half, and they showed that they can at least compete. It's just, again, the offense just needs to put up their side of the fight. The defense will do their job, but the offense had to help out. And unfortunately, like in many years past, didn't. So hopefully they fix that, and we can get a win against Duquesne on Saturday. I mean, I don't even want to shudder to think about us losing to a team like Duquesne, but I mean, honestly, we've done some more creative things in our time that football team has done. So we shall see.
So is that encouraging to y'all if we do beat Duquesne? Because it is Duquesne. So is that an encouraging thing? Or are you still upset?
I'm not upset because I have no expectations of a Neil Brown football team at this point in time.
Wow.
If you're doing,
he's very harsh, Kev. He's very harsh.
Hey, listen, he got a reason to be. I can't. Yeah. There's no evidence behind like to counter that, so I can't.
Yeah.
I support Pat McAfee's comments that he has no moxie. He has nothing in his tank.
Mm-hmm.
He literally did. It was 4th and 2, and the top running back in the Big 12 right now is CJ Anderson. We all know that. He was averaging 4.5 yards a carry. And you do a trick play and you throw it backwards to your quarterback who hasn't even played all game in Nico. And it's all screwed up. Like, what the?
Yeah, that play, I was like, I don't even know what to make of it. You just give it to your best player and let it run. And I also just questioned, was he on like a touch limit? Because I felt that there was a lot of times where he wasn't even in the set of 11, or it was just so bizarre.
They said half of the wide receivers that transferred in didn't even play.
Yeah, I noticed that.
A bunch of running backs didn't play. I'm like, you went up there not to lose. That his game plan was not to get blown out. It wasn't to win. It was just not to get destroyed. And I'm tired of that.
And it happened anyway. But it happened anyway, though. Oh. That's it. Yeah, that's odd. That's very odd. I'm not gonna act like I know the most about football, but for me, and I'm like a Neil Brown supporter. Like, I want to see him do well. He seems like a really good guy. He seems like, he seems like a good coach too. Maybe he's just, and I don't want to say it, maybe he's just out of his depth, man. Maybe he's just like, this is not his level of football. Maybe, being at Troy, he did great there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's his level, and there's nothing wrong with that. But
right,
yeah. So
this is a different animal. This is a different animal. Our fan base,
different animal.
Our fan base is a different animal. Like if we were like a place like a Rutgers, like place like that where college football isn't maybe primary, it's more secondary or after. But West Virginia, WVU, like football is extremely important. All sports at our university, I believe, is pretty damn important because we're the only one in the state. So and it matters more. So just because, I don't know, he might be a little in over his head. And when we hired him, we all felt like this is what we need: somebody young, somebody different. But maybe it's more looking like we need to be a little bit more different and more creative. But
just time will tell. Just don't go backwards. Just give me somebody.
And that's what we keep hearing. I know Merritt hates that answer, and everybody keeps saying Rich Rod's name to come back because he's over being successful at a Jacksonville State. But it's a matter if he wants to come back. That's also another thing. But
Right.
He can he can stay. Don't
Don't
need it. I don't need to go backwards. It's kind of like the same idea with the whole situation with the basketball team where they said, let's go backwards and try to get Beeline for a
Right.
little bit. No, I don't. He's not going to understand the players. And I would say the same thing of Rich Rod. Like he won't understand the players that he's trying to recruit now. That's my opinion. I could be totally off and you could probably understand everything, but that's what I think.
Well, when you're talking about speaking to this time of players, I'm gonna say it now. I'm a believer in that Colorado team, sir. I'm a believer in that Colorado team. Merritt,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know your thoughts on them.
God, I can't
But
believe I was that wrong.
yeah. So Kev, Merritt said that Dion was not gonna win no more than 3 games. And I think they might start off 3-0 now.
Well, yeah. After that game,
tripping.
yeah, I texted the group chat and I said I'm putting my foot in my mouth and I was wrong. I'll give him 5 games because I still think you're going up against some really good teams in the Pac-12 that make life hard.
The only thing I will say is that nobody knew what to expect going into that first game, right?
It's true.
So
Yeah.
we can say that they caught TCU off guard. We can say that, but everybody knows they're coming now. There's nobody that's gonna take them lightly anymore. So they're gonna get everybody's best shot, especially with Prime on the sideline. So they're getting everybody's best shot from here on out. So they might go through some ups and downs. I don't like when people are like, I didn't really like his comments. He's like, do you believe now? Do you like, okay, like you beat a ranked opponent, really good opponent. Okay, cool. But you still got a lot of football season left. So like, you know what I mean? Like you still got a lot to prove to yourself, but they did look good. I can't.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
What's the kid that plays both sides of the ball, Kevin?
Travis Henry. Travis Hunter.
Hunter.
Travis Hunter.
Wow.
He's a dog. He's a dog.
He is a dog.
That kid is unreal. And his son is 500 something plus yards. All 5 wide receivers have over 100 yards receiving. Their
offense is gonna have to carry it because I mean maybe their defense will get better over. I know they got really good skill players and maybe I know their offense will be fine against anybody, but their defense is they're gonna have to win a lot of shootouts if if their defense keeps playing like that. So we'll see. Maybe I'm sure that'll get better, cleaned up, but.
It's like they're prepping for that Big 12 shootout already.
Yeah, exactly.
They're ready. It's how it goes.
And the fact that Travis, he played 112 snaps that game.
Insane.
That's a lot. That's pretty much the whole game, essentially.
Yeah, it's the whole
right?
game.
Unreal.
Yeah. On both sides.
Both sides.
I don't know how sustainable that is for the full season, especially against, no offense, but the teams he played in against while at Jackson State, like not the same caliber as what he'll go up against in an Oregon, a USC, a UCLA. Like, could be a little difficult.
Yeah.
I seen on an interview where Deion Sanders kind of said that he was letting them rest until Wednesday. So like the game is on Saturday, obviously he's gonna let him get a couple. So if that's the goal, then I mean let it ride because it's worked for you. If you're gonna give him that much rest, but then it's like the rest versus rust kind of thing because you also do need the reps and practice on that side too. So it's demanding for sure, but he seems like he can handle it. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Another person that's real good on that team was that running back. Dylan Edwards, he was absolutely crushing it, 100 yards for that team. He's good too, and just a true freshman that they got. That one of the first like actual recruits to go to Colorado when Prime went there. So we shall see. It's gonna be a good time.
Oh shit, my wife, I forgot we have a fantasy draft at 8 o'clock, and my wife just texted me. I got first pick. Who do I take?
Nice.
McCaffrey. That's not even a question.
Gotta love.
I'm in too many fantasy leagues. I can't do this anymore. Too many.
It's all good.
Four of them
Happens
this
to the
year.
best of us. Me too.
Yeah. Yeah, I would only be in 3 if it wasn't for you.
Sorry.
Well, I got no update on the basketball team because it's quiet on the Western Front over there, which is, as we like to say, a good thing. They're posting pictures. They're working out. They're hopefully going to class. That's it.
Right.
As long as they're showing up.
Sometimes no news is good news. So so I'm excited to see what they look like too. They I didn't really, because they were still recruiting. It was only like 7 to 8 guys when I was there this summer, and they were still trying to get guys, recruit some guys. So it's gonna be interesting, and especially if Raekwon can get his waiver passed, we need him. He's legit. I've seen it in person. He's legit. So.
Oh man, yeah, because I know I've seen John Flowers. He's tweeted about how like Raekwon Battle is that dude. Is it as advertised?
Yeah, it's as advertised. And John don't give anybody any credit. He doesn't like to give me my credit. He doesn't like to give anybody. So when he says that, it means something. So
I hopefully, because I'm pretty sure the NCAA denied one of the UNC football players a transfer. So maybe that's their one for the year, because they love to screw us over. It seems like consistently, because last year was Jose, and this year was Omar.
Mm-hmm.
So let us keep one, please.
Right. Somebody, come on. And if there was one to keep, it's Raekwon.
Hey, I'm excited. It's going to be a very different team. And I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about that, KJ, because you played on a Bob Huggins run team. What do you think the difference is going to be come this season from what we're all used to for the past 15 or so years?
Right. It's hard to say because I'm not around the facility. I haven't got a good beat on, how they want to play. But I know Josh is bringing some new ideas to the table. Obviously, he coached under Coach Huggins, so I feel like he's gonna implement a little bit of things, but he's gonna have his own spin on it, and that's what I like. You know what I mean? Don't try to be like Coach Huggins, man. Like be yourself, be true to you. Do implement what you want to do with the team and your vision of how you want to mold the team. And I think we're going to be exciting. I think we're going to be fun to watch. We got a lot of athletic, fast guards, long, athletic big man, Jesse Edwards, a cook. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
See,
Georgetown.
I think it's a cook. I learned it from
cook.
Yeah, I learned it from one of my nephew. He actually is a student at UConn, and he's there when a cook was there. So he's like, yeah, it's just a cook.
All right, good. Yeah, I didn't want to mess that up. But those two guys on the inside, and I think guys that's gotten better this year, just working out against them a little bit and just observing them while I was there, was Patrick Sumnick. I think he's going to do well, and Josiah Harris.
Yeah.
Those guys really they stood out to me this summer. Along with all the other guys, everybody's been working hard, man, and I love the staff that they put together. DeMar Johnson, Alex Ruoff, Deshaun Butler, Jordan McKay, like those. That's like a dream team of of workout guys and basketball minds. That like it's crazy, man. I just know that they're gonna be prepared. They're gonna be ready to go. Everybody seems like they're having fun, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah, you spoke about the staff. I feel like the staff, that's just a whole new, completely different generation that they have there now. When you talk about the staff that was previously there was literally there when all of us were still in school. So the fact that you have guys that like someone like myself and Merritt can relate to, because we've seen them all play, and including DeMar Johnson, who was a former NBA player who we watched in the league. Like I'm super excited to see what they do, because I think the staff is definitely something we haven't seen before, and I think I'm excited to see what they like conjure up.
I'm just excited to see this team hit the floor. I really wish I could go to the Springfield game, but my damn son has to be born the night after that game. Damn it. Seriously. I was like, oh, they play UMass. And my wife went to UMass. I was like, oh, that'd be a great game to go to. I look at the date. I'm like, yeah, nope, I ain't leaving New York because my wife's going to probably be in the hospital with our firstborn. Yay. I am more excited, I promise, than how it sounds. I promise. I'm very, very excited. The kid has already got more West Virginia gear than I do, so we're good. Raising him right.
Hey, at least you could watch it. At least you could watch it on the TV while you at the hospital. So that's, you know what I mean, that's something.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, honey, look, channel just doesn't change. I can't help it. It's stuck. I can't find the batteries.
It's stuck.
Awesome. Well, KJ, I gotta ask. We're trying to figure out how to say where you're playing now.
Okay. Kyoto Hanari.
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 Okay.
Hanari.
All right.
I had to learn it when I first got here too, so it's fine. And some of these names is hard to say.
Yeah, just a little bit. And you've been all over. You've been the D League before it became the G League. Got up and had your chance in the NBA, which every West Virginia fan thinks that you should still be in the NBA. Not gonna lie. And then you've been in the Philippines, France, Serbia, Russia. That must have been interesting. Serbia, and now Japan. So all over. What's the journey been like for you since? I know it's been a long time. You've been playing professionally for going on 12 years. So
journey's been great, man. I would say a blessing in disguise, because obviously everybody's dream is to stay at home, stay in the NBA. You want to play USA, best basketball league in the world, of course. So when I got my opportunity to finally play and I got called up from the D League after a couple of games, I was, you know what I mean, like living out my dreams came true, you know. And then I had some unfortunate incidents that happened as far as like health wise. Had a few concussions during the summer league that next summer, which was will be my second year with the Cavs, and wasn't able to play and show what I can do. So unfortunately, I got cut. And then at that time, they also drafted Anthony Bennett with the number 1 pick.
That didn't work.
And then they also crazy that he didn't even work out for them. It was crazy. But that's just a whole nother story for a whole nother day. And then Andrew Bynum came in. So it was just I was like the odd man out. The right one was on the wall that I probably wasn't going to come back. So I did a second year with the D League team. Did really good, made the All-Star team. And then for me, I wouldn't say I got tired of chasing the dream, but I wanted to make some money. I wanted to make some money off my talents, and being in the D League was not cutting it. So fortunately for me, a team from the Philippines bought me out of my contract. There you go. Bought me out of my contract, and I was able to play in Manila in the PBA as my first professional overseas experience. Did really well there. And then, you know, there was always a crazy stigma on playing overseas. You hear all these horror stories. You don't get paid on time. It's just a whole lot of stuff going on over there. But my first experience was great. I got all my money, was there safely. So that stigma was broke for me, which allowed me to go to other countries while also during the summer playing in summer league and doing little training camps and stuff like that. So I was able to live out both sides, you know, making good money, and then also still kind of chasing my dream with the NBA.
That's awesome. Kev, question. So Merritt listed out all those countries. You're Philippines. I know you're there. San Miguel, Beerman, shout out to the PBA. France, Serbia, Russia, Spain, now Japan. What are the fan bases like in those countries? I know the Philippines are crazy about their basketball. Crazy. So I know I can only imagine the love you got there. I'm very curious to know what it's like in those other countries.
So Japan is like such a stark difference from every other country I've been in as far as fans. Serbia, craziest fans ever. I loved it. It was like being in college, bro. I had to get used to it. So funny story, when I was in Serbia, my first game, right, was against our rival. It was Red Star. The team I was on was called Partizan. Their rival was Red Star. So it's like, imagine Pitt in West Virginia in another country.
Oh, man.
So I live across the street from the gym, mind you. And, we're getting ready for the game. And he's like, yeah, you guys, we're meeting at this time, whatever, to go to the gym. I'm like, I live right across the street. I could just walk there. He's like, no, we don't do that on game day against our rival. I was like, why? He's like, you'll see. So we meet up at like our soccer arena, which is 20 minutes away from where I live, just to take a bus back to where we're going to play. So when I pull up, there's cops outside in riot gear with shields.
What?
That have to escort us into the game, because that's how crazy the game. People throwing firecrackers on the court, people fighting in the stands, people throwing chairs in the stands. And these are the chairs that come off, like they're not glued or
So
whatever.
no.
it's like a Bobby Knight chair.
Yes, these are chairs that's flying during the game, because that's how crazy the rivalry is. Like somebody shooting a free throw, I'm on the court, somebody throws a firecracker, boom, right on the court. I'm looking around what's going on right now? Nobody else flinched, nobody else moved, just because that's how used to it they were. People smoking cigarettes, and it was a wild environment. It took me a while to get used to it, but then at the end of it, I loved it. And I say that just to say Japan is night and day. Like there's none of that. They don't even boo the opposing team. They'll cheer their team on, but they don't even boo the opposing team. It's like being some arenas are a little more loud than others, but it's just kind of like being at an event for them. I don't get the feeling that. I think there's like 2 or 3 diehard fans in the league, but other than that, it's like an event. You know what I mean? Everybody's super respectful. Everybody, they get along. No fights in the stands. None of that. I kind of missed it, but it's like night and day. But I love both for what they do. So.
And now you've been over in Japan for a couple of months right now?
Well, you talking about just overall, or
this time around? Yeah, because I know you've been down there.
I got here August 5th.
Okay, so just about a month.
So I've been here a little over a month. Yeah.
And how long? Typically, I know overseas contracts can just be for a small period of time, or it can be for a full season. How long are you down over there this time around?
So it's usually 8 to 10 months out of the year, depending on if you make the playoffs or not. So I'm usually here until middle of May, early June. Yeah.
Perfect time to go back to West Virginia and hang out with Flowers.
There's no perfect time for
that. No, I've seen him out plenty of times in Morgantown.
That's my guy right there. Shout out Jay Flo, my brother.
I won't lie. I remember coming down because I was a practice player for the girls team at the time. And I think it was a game after Turk decided to shoot a 3 or do his hook shot. And I'm getting ready, warming up. And there's Huggins yelling, per usual, at somebody. And then there's Flowers making fun of Turk with his hook shot and doing the hook shot from the 3-point line and just yelling at him and making him. He's like, why you shoot like this? Shoot like this. He's like, Turk's like, no, just do this. I'm like, what the?
You want to know something funny? Turk's shooting percentage would probably been better than John shooting that hook shot from 3. Don't tell him I said that though.
I'm sending this right to him. We're gonna get that clip and we're gonna send it right over to him. You know he's gonna challenge you now to a 3-point shooting contest.
Oh yeah, I don't know about now. He shoots the 3 really well now. He's come a long way. So
he's learned.
His 3. I feel like his shot, like from when he was in school to like now, is like a 180. Because if I remember correctly, he had to like back all the way over here, and now it's like in the front now, and it's night and day where it just goes in.
Cash. I ain't gonna lie, it's cash now.
You used to be scared whenever John got the ball and he wasn't in the paint.
Yeah. John, oh, to this day, John hates John. If you ask John, he should have been an All-American at WB.
I listened to one of the episodes that you guys did before you left, and he's talking about the different coaching styles and if Beeline was still there when he was and if his offense would have developed. He's like, I've been one of the best 3-point shooting power forwards in the game. I'm like, I don't know about that. Even with Beeline.
Hey man, we all have dreams. It's fine. Hey, listen, we all have dreams and stuff. But nah, he's definitely developed his game. He can probably like 40% for sure. He's gotten way better with that.
Dang, that's awesome. And he's done. He besides
officially retired, right?
Yeah. Officially retired.
He is a financial advisor now, full time.
Oh boy. And real estate. I know he does real estate too.
Hey, I think he stopped real estate to do financial advising like full time.
Good for him.
So yeah, he's all in now.
And also the potential athletic director if anything happens.
Yeah, waiting for the interview. Waiting for the interview. I know on your podcast, he's like, I'm waiting for the interview invite for AD. I was waiting for the interview invite for when coach opened up. When the women's coach opened up, he was waiting for the interview there.
At some point, you guys say there's a reason why these people are not interviewing you. At some point, there has to be a reason.
There's got to be a point where he realizes it's just not going to happen. Just drive all the big donors there, John. That's all we need.
He can do that. He's very, very good at fundraising. Very good at that. So,
well,
I will say, I would totally love to see what entertainment he could come up with for like the timeout or halftime shows for basketball to get rid of the Kroger shopping cart shootout, which I know he despises. But I would love to see what he would be able to do there.
Telling you, I think he could do some things.
Well, I think he just needs to go to Ren's office and just sit down one day and wait till he opens the door.
wait till he John, it's been 3 days. Why are you still out here?
I'm waiting for my chance. He's gonna have to give it to him at that point. But awesome. We're gonna keep going because there's so many good questions. But we always like this. We've had former West Virginia athletes on: Steph Mock with volleyball, Sarah and Bree with soccer, Crystal Caldwell with women's basketball. What was it like being recruited, and why West Virginia at the end of the day?
Being recruited. So West Virginia kind of came in the middle of my recruiting. I had already had some teams that was kind of on me from like freshman year. So they kind of came in the middle of it, and I wasn't really sure about, because I didn't know much about it. I didn't know much about West Virginia, and the stuff I did know, it wasn't. Let's just say it wasn't the most flattering things that people could say about a state. So
same with me. Same with us.
Same here.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like
us from the Northeast, we hear West Virginia, we're thinking a whole nother life that we're not supposed to be around.
Everyone,
I'm thinking the movie Wrong Turn.
That's what I was just gonna say.
I was thinking, and it's definitely it's definitely not that. But so they kind of came in the middle of it, and then Coach Huggins, he had got the job. He had just got the job there, and then I seen what they did, and I seen what they did going to the Sweet 16. I was actually at the game where they beat not Arizona, they beat Belmont. I think it was Belmont. They played the first game, and then they beat Arizona the next game. But yeah, so just knowing his credibility as far as with people from like my position, I guess people was called us tweeners at the time. 3-4 guys, just getting them to the NBA, getting them to the next level. And so it intrigued me. So he came on a home visit, him and Coach Martin. And they really, the thing I like most about Coach Huggins is that he never bullshitted me. Like, if you know Coach Huggins, he's not a bullshitter. Like, he came in, he's like, you're going to get what you work for. I'm not going to come in and promise you anything, but you will be better. Like, leaving my program, you will be better, like, as a player and as a man. And for me, that's all I respected, was just the honesty. You hear people getting sold a dream when it comes to recruiting, and you're gonna be this and that, and it rarely ever falls through. So for me, I definitely respected that. But with that being said, my first recruiting visit was at Ohio State, and I loved it. Like, me as a sheltered kid growing up, like me going out and be able to be on my own, going out and doing things like going to football, the Ohio State football game, crazy. So I'm like, I'm hanging out with these guys that's coming back from the Daquan Cook at the time, guys coming back from the NBA, just chilling. That was a big thing to me, and I was gonna sign right then and there, like right after my visit. I don't need to see anything else. Ohio State is for me. And then luckily I had my older brother there, and he was just like, if you feel the same way after you take all your visits, then you can sign. And I'm glad I didn't do that so early, because I took all my visits. I went to UMass, I went to Pittsburgh, Indiana, and then West Virginia. And going to West Virginia, it felt most like home to me. Just like the people there, everybody was so embracing, and it was like that everywhere, but West Virginia was just something different and special about it. So I was like, and then Truck was here already. He was on my recruiting visit with me. He was the first one of us to sign. So I was like, another New York guy coming, and New York City guy. So I'm like, there's got to be something here. So yeah, I decided to make that decision. It was one of the best decisions of my life.
I think we can all attest to
That's
going to West
that's
Virginia.
for sure. All
Best
three of us.
decision ever.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Kev, you got the
Yeah,
next one,
so-
bro.
Yeah, I can do the next one. Like, so I feel like we ask this all the time, and I feel like I kind of know the answer to this one already. But like, what was it like for you playing for W at the time we were all there, and playing for such a esteemed coach like Coach Huggins? Like, because I'll be honest, like I talked about it with my old roommate, because we got together to watch the football game. We talked about, we were at school at probably, if not one
Best
of,
time.
probably the greatest sports time in West Virginia history. Like we are considered like the golden era during that time. So like, what was it like for you from the player's perspective, like being able to be a part of that?
It was cool for me because we knew because at the time we knew something was happening, like a new era, like something special was happening, but we didn't really know. Like,
Yeah.
we just, us three recruits coming in, me, Truck, and E-Banks, like, as one of the top recruiting classes in the country to come to WVU. We, from that time, from us as freshmen, and the way we kind of ended our freshman year, just all individually, we all grew so much because we had a lot on our shoulders coming in, getting thrown right into the fire from our freshman year, and then going into that Final Four year, we knew like we was gonna have the talent. We had Turk coming in, Dan Jennings, Dalton Pepper, Deshaun was a senior. Everybody was a year older and a year more familiar with playing together. So, but it was like, if you would have told me in the beginning that we were going to go to the Final Four and win the biggest championship, I'd have been like, all right, like that's great goals to have. I don't know if that's, you know what I mean? I don't know if for us that's going to be achievable, because you don't know, like, you got the talent, but then it has to come together. So the fact that what we were striving for, it actually came together. It was great, man. And just the fanfare around it, how everybody rallied around the team. It was everybody's team. I feel like we was becoming America's team, just like with us winning the Big East championship, and us beating Kentucky, and like everybody starting to finally believe in us, and just like felt like all eyes were on us. It was a great time, man. It was crazy.
The best video of that Kentucky win is John doing the John Wall afterwards in the locker room.
Oh yeah,
That's probably my favorite video of all time.
for sure. Hey man, that's classic.
Awesome. Well, I like this question because it gets to know the program. Like, we can ask you what's your favorite memory of like winning something or whatnot, but what was your favorite memory of West Virginia, behind the scenes at practice, or actually just being at school in West Virginia?
Right. So I got two. I'll tell you one on the court memory and off the court memory. My off the court memory when I first got here was just like first orientation and then trying to find your classes. Like that was I'm like, yeah, my head is spinning. I'm like, I'm looking at girls, but then I'm also trying to find where's these classes at. I don't know where I'm at. Like just being a lost freshman. And then just also going to like Fall Fest and seeing everybody there and just like, bruh, like this is crazy. Like I never, like I said, growing up being sheltered, not really. I mean, I went to a decent sized high school. It was the only high school in the town, so it was a pretty big amount of people. But that was on another level. And now you're like not just freshmen, everybody's sophomore, juniors, seniors, everybody's in this one place. Just my head is on a swivel. I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta talk to her. I gotta talk to her at some point. I'm like, that's all that's going through my mind right now. I'm not even thinking about basketball at this point. I'm like, I'm just trying to line things up for later. But so
I
that was
think
my
we all did that.
Kevin, you know what I'm talking about, bro. That freshman
Yo,
that is crazy.
man, when you go to freshman orientation, Merritt, you didn't because you came like sophomore year.
Yeah.
Like everyone is just like there, and it's just like the group. And I brought this story up a couple weeks back because we talked about like why we went to West Virginia. And like I remember like everyone is all there. You have like everything set up in the mountain lair. And I remember my mom asked, Kevin, you could have went to like 50, there are like 49 other states. And then like 5 minutes later, like a whole sorority of like 11 girls walk by. And my dad goes, well, there's 11 reasons why right there. And I'm like, that's what it is.
He understood. He understood the vision.
When,
yes.
when I transferred there, my friends go, what? Why? Like, why West Virginia? I'm like, well, there's a lot of good mountains here. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I go, just let that sink in and what you think that means. And all the boys go, oh, I get it. I'm like, took you a while, but yes, there's a lot of great mountains to go see around here.
Hey, listen, that 2-to-1 ratio never fails. That 2-to-1 is but yeah, so that's my off the court memory. So my first on the court memory was our first practice, right? Me and Truck, me and Truck was just talking about this the other day because we were like roommates our freshman year.
Over at Lincoln.
So we have our first,
over at Lincoln.
Yeah, over at Lincoln Hall. Good old Lincoln Hall.
Yeah.
So we have our first practice, right? 3.5 hours of just straight running, like just going on the treadmill, everything you could think of, right? So we go back to our dorm. Literally, we eat and we fall asleep for the rest of the day. Like we fall asleep mind you, I think practice was like from 3 to 6 at the time, like first semester. So from 6, we ate, slept the rest of the day until next day practice. And we just woke up thinking to ourselves, like, how are we going to do 4 years? How are we going to, like, what did we get ourselves into? Like, that's all we were thinking to each other. It's like, how are we going to survive this? Because that's how intense the first practice was. And, you have, like, summer practices and stuff like that. And it's nothing compared to when the season actually starts and he gets in full Coach Huggins mode. Yeah, it was crazy. So that's what I remember from that, just a behind the scenes thing of just thinking to myself, like, I don't know if I'm gonna survive this. And then 4 years later, like it being one of the best decisions of my life to go there. So
amazing.
I wonder who's scarier, Coach Carey or Coach Huggins?
It depends.
Probably a tie.
It might be a tie.
I got yelled at by Coach Carey, and that was scary. Like
I seen Coach Carey go in. Like
dude, he got this close to my face. And I'm a practice player. All I did was go around the screen that Medina. Sorry, I hope she doesn't listen to this. Please don't kill me. Did not set strong enough, and I went around it and just put my hand up and blocked Vanessa. I just blocked a shot. Didn't jump, didn't do anything. I thought I shat my pants because I was so scared. And I came back the
That's
next day.
crazy.
He totally forgot who I was. Until I broke my foot at practice and didn't come back to practice like the next day. He goes, "Where's the tall guy that blocks shots?" I'm like, well, at least he now remembers who I am.
Right, right. That's the one thing I also tell about people too about Coach Huggins is that he'll curse you out and say all these crazy things to you, and then five minutes later he'll talk to you like calm, like nothing ever happened. He's very good at like compartmentalizing things, like not letting things drag out until after practice. Like he'll come over and talk to you like this is the reason like why I said this and that in his own softer tone after practice is over. And the one thing he's kind of said to me is like, if I stop yelling at you, then you should be worried. Cause that means I don't care about, you know what I mean? Like you can mess up or do whatever. You're probably not going to play. So when I stop yelling at you, then you should really be worried. But you should want me to yell at you because that means I'm engaged and you have a chance of playing here. So I just kind of, after he said that, I just kind of took it like, all right, cool. Like I'm gonna get yelled. It's inevitable. Like it happens to everybody. I'm gonna get yelled. I'm gonna just try to not get yelled at as much as everybody else. So I think
don't
I
wanna
did a
get as
good job with that.
Yelled at as much as Casey does, but not as
Or
little as Turk does. Okay.
Exactly. Somewhere in between then.
Kev, you talked about sorry, Merritt, I'm going off script, but Kev, you talked about your practices. So I remember you guys would practice at the rec center certain times.
That was the coolest thing in the world.
I would always wonder like how those practices were. Was it just like because I felt like then you had a crowd all of a sudden watching you. You not only had all the beautiful women that are walking by trying to do their workouts, but then you got like the bros that are like, watching, trying to get their shot at their scholarship or whatever, and trying to see what who they can talk to. So how are those practices? Because now, thank goodness, these are the new teams. They don't have to deal with that anymore.
No, they got their own. They don't know how good they got it, man. I was only able to enjoy like half a year of the facility actually playing there. It was finally built towards like the second half of my senior year, so we didn't really get to practice there that much. But those rec center practices, man, oh my. Imagine the girl you've been trying to talk to walking by and Coach Huggins is just cursing you out and you can't say nothing about it. You just looking around like, oh man, I hope she still answers my call when
and you guys would they wouldn't even try to hide you sometimes. First, like you'll be on the downstairs court one day, then they throw you on like the upstairs level. Like they threw you guys everywhere. It's like, yo, come on, what are we doing?
Facts. And then you got your friends that like outside of basketball that you just see around, they clowning you because you know what I mean? Same thing, like you miss a shot or you airball, like they clowning you. So I think they did that on purpose. I feel like they wanted to throw some embarrassment in there, see how we was gonna handle it, especially us freshmen. But it was a good change of scenery from the Coliseum sometimes, just because like the rec was always like cooler, like as far as like the gym, like it was colder. When you go into the Coliseum, especially them summer months, it get hot. It get hot. So and the court is a little bit shorter than the Coliseum court. So I wasn't too mad at that for the most part. Those rec center practices.
Hey, 2 and 22s on a rec center court is much better than 2 and 22s in the Coliseum.
That part.
All right.
For sure.
So I gotta ask this because we all in 2012 when the draft comes up, I think everyone in West Virginia, everyone of a fan of you was expecting you to be drafted. What's it like for you or for any player to go undrafted? And then what's the process afterwards of getting signed to a D League or now a G League team or a summer league team for some of the bigger teams?
So I mean, so first I think that was probably one of the most like I guess I would say I wouldn't be dramatic, but yeah, I kind of felt that way. It's like one of the most heartbreaking things like in my life, just because I did what I did, was an All-American, led the conference in points and rebounds. I thought I did all the workouts. I probably had more than half the teams I worked out for in the NBA. So, and I did really good. And I actually had a promise, which I thought was a promise, to that somebody was going to draft me in the first round because that's how good my workouts went. And then now, as I get older, you just realize talk is just talk until it actually happens. So and the draft is in, was it in New York? Was it in Madison Square Garden?
It was in Barclays that year.
It was in Barclays that year. So I'm there with my family. I'm suited and everybody in my family, because that's why I'm from New York. So everybody was there for me. And just to hear names getting called, first round pass, names getting called. I'm like, okay, second round, that's cool. I still get drafted. Names getting called, and then my name was nowhere to be found. Like, that was probably one of the hardest things to come back from after that. But it kind of taught me resilience, you know what I mean? And not to take anything for granted, and that nothing is promised. So after that, me and my brother and my agent, we just got together, had a list of teams that, had spots open in my position, because I didn't want to just go to any team that was offering me to play. I wanted to go where I thought I had the best chance. And Cleveland, we all thought was the best chance. First of all, it's only a 3-hour drive away from West Virginia, which I was, staying in and working out at the time. So I could get back and forth easily if I needed to. Mike Gansey was one of the guys working with the Cavs at the time, somebody we know. So it just all kind of aligned up. It was a young team. It was Kyrie and Tristan's second year. Dion Waiters and Tyler Zeller were the rookies coming in. So it was a team I knew it was manageable to make if I just went there and, just did my thing. So that was the idea of going into of picking the Cavs. And then obviously the last part, they got to offer you. So they offered me a training camp deal, which was worth, some money. And then I got to work out for the team, and I made it all the way to the last cuts. Didn't get picked up, but got sent to the G League affiliate, the D League at the time, affiliate Canton Charge, and did my thing there, and just got called up after I want to say like 5 or 6 games. Just went crazy. And
you were going crazy.
It got called up for the rest
crazy.
of the year. Yeah, so that was pretty much that.
That's awesome. It's a cool story, because all of us were expecting that name to be called that first round 100%. I remember sitting there watching it. My dad's like, "Who's the West Virginia kid?" I'm like, "Kevin Jones, like Big East Player of the Year, easily one of the best players to come out of the West Virginia, all this stuff." And he goes,
average a double. I mean, it goes on and on.
Yeah.
And I remember that year too. I was just like, wait, what's going on? Like, you're picking somebody that's not ever going to come to the league, and you're going to waste a draft pick on that person instead of taking KJ. It was making me nuts. But
my Boston Celtics love to pick players that will never, ever come to the NBA. They still are overseas somewhere. And getting paid. I don't know how it works.
You always wonder, like, are those even like real people, or they just make up those names? Like, they couldn't even be. They could be like a rare. They may not even be real people at that rate.
Nader has played on the summer league team once or twice, and then he never wants to come play in the NBA.
Yeah, that's when I realized. I mean, it bothered me before, but what I know now is that they draft and they do these picks off of potential and not and not productivity. So once you learn that, I mean, it's even more frustrating once you learn that. But then when things like that happen and you see they are drafting these guys from Lithuania that will never, like you said, will never play in the NBA, but they're like stashing them overseas so they can quote unquote get better until they can come over here. Like, you just it is what it is, man. Like, sometimes life ain't fair. It is what it is.
Hey, it's worked out for sure for you.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right, next question I got is so you've been playing professionally in Japan since 2018. So, Kev, what is your greatest accomplishment you've got playing overseas or playing professionally? Either or.
Greatest accomplishment. Team wise or individual, it doesn't matter.
Either one. You could be one of both if you want.
So just individually, I had a player of the month in April, and when I was in Russia, when I was playing Russia. So that was pretty big. That was one of my first awards that I've won like while I was overseas. So that was pretty big to me. And then we were playing at a pretty competitive league called Euro Cup. It's like, if anybody knows like European basketball, so you have Euro League, which is like considered the second best league behind the NBA, and then you have Euro Cup, which is right under that. So it was a pretty big deal to me, especially dealing with some stuff that I had to deal with that summer. I said that summer, that season. Just to get that award was great. And then also I got the team MVP award from the team I played on 2 seasons ago when I was in Japan. So that was pretty big for me because it was crazy. We played them, we beat them. The team that I was on last year beat the team that gave me the MVP award, and they still gave me the award after the game was over. I was like, oh man, I'm sorry. If I knew that was coming, I wouldn't have did y'all like that. But yeah, so that was another award that I was happy about and surprised about. So those were my 2 biggest, I would say, personal accomplishments since I've been overseas.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. All right, so John Flowers cannot be the answer to this question.
All right.
I feel like I know the answer to this question, but I wanted you to ask it. Ask it.
Who's been your favorite teammate to play with professionally or in college?
Oh, that's Truck.
Told
It's
you.
easy. Yeah, that's easy. That's easy.
Hey, I still gotta ask. I still gotta give the premise that Flowers cannot be the answer because
oh that's that you were way off on that one. That was no, I've had a lot of great teammates in my time, but that's just that's my brother still to this day. So can't always got to go with Truck.
Where's he at these days? I haven't heard that name in a long time.
He owns a cleaning company in Morgantown. He's doing really good for himself right now. Yeah, so he retired from basketball about 3-4 years ago. So he's been doing that. He's doing really well.
Good.
It's awesome. This is a follow-up question to this one. So you can do either or, college or professionally. Kev, if you had a top 5 players for an all-time starting lineup that you've played with,
ooh,
who would be in your 5? Of course, you can include yourself. So who's your other 4?
Can I exclude myself or because I'm gonna exclude myself?
Exclude yourself. Exclude yourself.
All right, I'm gonna exclude myself. Oh, okay. Ever. I play with a lot of really good players.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Kyrie at the 1, of course.
Okay.
That's kind of an obvious
one. Gotta go Kyrie at the 1. I'm not gonna put Truck in it just because I already say he's my favorite teammate. So I already gave him enough praise. He's good. 2. I'll go with Dion Waiters at the 2. So Kyrie, Dion. I'm gonna go with Deshaun at the 3. I'm gonna go with Ebanks at the 4. At the 5. Let me see. I haven't really standout 5 men that I'll play with. You know what? I'm gonna throw a wild card in. I'm gonna go with because I've never seen a big man have this much energy like the way he does, and I kind of got on the back end of his career, but he was still pretty good. Anderson Varejao.
All right.
Cool.
Anderson Varejao from the Cavs. That was like my guy. He definitely embraced me as a when I was a rookie. Like I say, he was kind of more on the back end of his career, like going out of the league. But just his professionalism, the way he played hard, he literally played hard every possession and did things that I was like, oh wow, like I see why he stuck around in the league. So I'm gonna go with Anderson Varejao as my 5.
He was a motor for sure.
Yeah, crazy motor.
That's a great lineup. You got a nice mix of like both college and professionally right there.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
I like those. All right, Kevin, do you want me to ask this next one? Or do you want to? Considering it's your a wild card, I'll let you take it.
Yeah, I don't mind this one. So when we were talking about it, when I first reached out to you, it was in the middle of you in the TBT. So me and Mary wanted to know, what was it like playing in the TBT for the last couple of years?
It was cool, man. The way it was presented to me by John. First, we had the alumni games. I was in Morgantown, and then we kind of branched out to the TBT. I always heard little rumors about the TBT. I'm like, this whatever tournament. Like, I didn't really take it seriously until it started being on ESPN, and more and more people started talking about it and getting into it. And I'm like, oh, this is really a thing. Like, this is really good. And then you actually play in it and you see the level of competition. Because that was, for me, it was like, okay, it's cool to be with the guys again, be with some of my old teammates, but I also want to compete. Like, I always also want to play against like great players. And we did. Like, it's expanded the way it's on ESPN now. It's like one of the main features during the summer of basketball. It's crazy, man. I enjoyed it so much, and I'm definitely gonna miss it playing in it. That this past summer was my last summer playing in the TBT. So that 4 years for me, man, it was great, competitive each year, playing with different guys from different eras from WVU. So it was a great experience overall. I got
Oh
free
yeah,
market
I love it.
promotion right now.
Free promo right there.
Yeah.
So you mentioned is last year is it. So what are you gonna fill that time with moving forward? Because I know that you have the ABL, which you guys destroyed Maryland. So
Yeah.
what are you gonna fill that time with then?
I don't know yet. I haven't decided, but the fact that I do get more in my summer, because coming back from an 8 to 10 month season and then having to prepare, because it's not like we just threw the team together in a week and we just did just prepare for TBT. We usually do it like 2 or 3 weeks out to try to build a team chemistry and bond with whoever's playing on our team. So that was time consuming, even though it was fun, and we was right there in Morgantown, so it's not like I had to go far away. But it was just really time consuming and just kind of stopped me from maybe taking a trip I want with my girlfriend, or doing something I want to do, visit family in New York or something like that. It just kind of stopped me from doing that. So I feel like 4 years is enough. I feel like I wanted to be
Definitely.
I feel like I wanted to be at the start of it to just try to build the program up so that
Mhm.
it'll encourage other alumni to want to come play. And I feel like we did that, especially with the run we had last summer, making it all the way to Dayton the way we did, and just our consistent winning throughout the tournament. I think we've done that, so I feel like my job is complete.
I definitely agree with that. You put
Yeah.
in your time there, Kev, and I think it's time for that younger group like of Chase and them to
Mhm.
take the flag and run with it.
Mhm.
But before we'll move on from TBT, if there's one thing that that best Virginia team could add to improve, what do you think that they would need to add? Whether player
A
wise or
legit
type
big man.
of legit big man. Okay.
A legit big man, rim protector. I feel like even with the hurt that game, I don't know if you guys watched it. We got beat on it wasn't the shooting that killed us, because we both shot the ball pretty bad, especially in that second half. But it was the offensive rebounds,
Yes.
second chance points that absolutely killed us. And we not nothing to the big man that we had, because we had damn, why am I drawing a blank on my man's name now? Alex Gross, sorry. He went to Morehead State. So
Yep.
he did a good job for us while he was in there. But I think we needed a guy that was going to protect the rim and just grab every rebound, and that was their only focus. And I feel like we haven't had that a lot of the times that I've had to play the five. And
Yeah.
it's something I can do. I don't really like doing, but and it was a necessity at the time. But yeah, I would say a legit five rim protector, like a Sags, man. And it was just because we had Sags for that one year and it just
Yeah.
didn't work out. He didn't get to play. I felt like he would have changed life for us as a team, just with his shot blocking ability and his athleticism. So I would say that.
All right. Well, I'll ask
Right.
the fun question. Kevin, we mentioned you've been playing professionally for going on year 12 at this point. When are you thinking this is gonna come to an end, and what's after it? What is the infamous Kevin Jones gonna do once he hangs up the sneakers?
So for me, my goal was always to play at 35. I'm 34. I just turned 34 last month. So
Yes.
it
Happy
was
birthday.
Great
thank you.
number.
Appreciate it.
I just turned that this weekend.
Okay, there you go. Virgo. There you go.
There
Virgo
you go.
season. There you go. But yeah, so my goal was always at least to 35. So that would be this season and then, next season. But as long as my body allows me to do it, I take really good care of myself. I pride myself on always being in shape. And but it gets hard, man. Like, especially you get older, like you can continue working out, but that body sometimes don't feel the same. You know what I mean? So I
Father
guess
Time is
I think
undefeated.
it's undefeated, but I'm trying to fight him off as much as possible. So I've been doing a good job so far. I like to tell myself that I'm still in my prime. I still got years to go. But then also, I never want to be one of those guys that played until I was like 40. I never wanted there to be any bad memory of Kevin Jones playing. I want everybody to remember me as he was good when he started playing. I don't want anybody to see me as like, he needs to. It's about that time, Kev.
He's
It's
like,
about
bro,
that time. I
time
don't want that to be a so I would say for me, personally, 3 more seasons would be like I'm perfectly fine with that. That would be what 14, 15 years professionally. Like you can't
Yeah,
beat that no
that's
matter
a
where
that's
you
a hell
play.
of a career.
A
That's a great career.
15-year professional career, and you can't beat that. So that's the goal. If I'm able to play further than that, then hey, that's a blessing. But that's the goal so far. And then what I want to do after. Sorry, my producer Dave is calling. I had a podcast episode of a podcast to do right after you guys.
Oh
They kind
man.
of you good. I'll call him back. He'll be fine.
I love Dave, and that's Dave Ryan, right?
Yeah, Dave Ryan. Yeah.
I love Dave. I remember when he was working for the arts and entertainment department. I worked with him all the time.
Yeah, Dave is a really good dude. He keeps us in line for the most part, as much as you can. But what I want to do after basketball, I want to get into sports commentating. I love talking about the game. I feel like I bring great insight to the game just as a former player. And yeah, it's just a passion of mine. So that's something I would love to do. Obviously, you have to work your way up and you have to it's not easy. So I'll treat it just like it was basketball, work hard forward, take my bumps and bruises in the game, but that's ultimately what I want to do. Sports
Love that.
commentating. Yeah.
Right.
Love that. Before I know there's one more question you have here, man, but there's
Okay.
no way we could remiss this question from being on. We appreciate you being on our podcast, but I fully enjoy your podcast, The Final Forecast, available to listen to on all streaming platforms and now be able to be seen on YouTube now, which is awesome. So
Yes, sir.
how did you guys come up with wanting to do a podcast? Was it just somebody was like, yo, you want to do a podcast? Or was there like
Right.
some sort of plan that came into it?
So actually it was John's idea. It started off with me, John, and Deshaun. It was everybody always wants to hear, just like you guys said, everybody wants to hear the outside stories that nobody has heard. So it's pretty, for me, wanting to get into sports commentating anyway, it was a good avenue for me because it's like I could show people more of my personality because I'm usually more of an introverted person. Don't really like to talk a lot unless it's people I know. So for me, it was more of a way to express myself and get out my personality so other people can see it. And then just also tell funny stories with your old teammates that nobody ever knew about. So it just kind of worked out that way. And from our episode, because we started 5 years ago, and
Yeah.
to where we are now, it's just like night and day, man. And it's been a blessing, and people still want to hear story. We still have stories going after 5 years, and and I think the thing about our podcast, we not only talk about basketball, we talk about real life situations as well. Talk about current events, what's going on in the world, just from a a funny perspective. We don't take ourselves too seriously. Obviously, we have episodes that are more serious than others, but for the most part, we just sit back and relax. And it's not like an interview; it's more like a conversation, just having between friends, just laughing. And man, it's changed my life. It's got me out of my shell. So yeah, man, I love it.
Yeah, I love listening to you guys talk, especially bringing on the former players, different generations, like of the players. All their perspective is crazy different. The stories, the treadmills are always there. Like it's fantastic.
Always.
Even just the random stuff. Like there was even one when you guys had like you guys were talking about aliens on one episode.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That surprised me.
I love it.
We go off
I
the rails.
love it.
We go off the rails. We talk. Did you hear the one about John? John and the ghost.
Yes,
John,
that
yeah,
was freaking great.
People still talk about that to this day. Yeah.
Oh gosh, classic.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin, ask the last question, and then once he answers, I know you got to jump to your other podcast, KJ. So
Right.
there you go.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And Kev, our last question is: what is your advice for someone that is looking for the next step in their career to college and professionally?
Just don't give up, man. You're gonna have a lot of depending on who you are, you might have a lot of doubters, a lot of people that feel like you can't do it, but you gotta be your own biggest fan and just fight, just be resilient, fight through anything, any adversity that might happen. You know, that sounds cliche, but I mean that's kind of like the story of my career. I feel like it's just fighting through adversity, just like being stubborn in your goals. I would say just don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You might not be good enough to play in a certain area. You might, you know what I mean? You might be thinking over your head that's, you know, as some people would say, but at the same time, like as long as you're stubborn with your goals, I feel like you're always going to land where you're supposed to be. And yeah, and there's other ways, and just telling kids this because they only think it's the NBA. There's other ways to make money professionally and help your family out besides the NBA. So if you don't make it there, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like one of the best things for me is being able to travel different countries, learn different cultures, and make money doing it. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I was just stuck in the States or was only had that one track mind of like I have to make it to the NBA. So for myself and for anybody out there that's listening, man, just keep on going towards your goals. Don't let nothing stop you.
Great message.
Love that. Love it. All right. Well, is it me for the outro?
It's your turn. It's your turn.
Oh, thanks. Yes. So outro time. First off, we got to give Kev your flowers. You know, you're a Hall of Famer. You're probably one of the best W players that probably in history. You're up there. You're crushed it. You know, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for everything you've done. You've made our college careers. You made our day for being able to come on our podcast. Like, you're probably our biggest guest ever. So we really, really appreciate you. Any socials that they can follow you guys on, that our followers can find you?
Yeah, so my personal socials at Kev Jones 5 on Twitter, at Kevin Jones 5 on Instagram, at Final Forecast on Instagram and Twitter. Hey man, we got a lot of content coming still. You can keep up with Best Virginia updates, keep up with the podcast updates, go on iPodcast wherever you get them. Final Forecast is up there, man. I appreciate y'all giving me the platform to come and talk. I like what y'all doing. Keep up the good work. And yeah, thanks again.
We appreciate you joining us for sure. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Definitely.
So for those that are listening, make sure you go ahead and listen to us on all streaming platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on Google Play. We're on Amazon Play. If you want to see us on the YouTube, we're on our YouTube page at the Manly Musings Podcast. Feel free to follow Merritt at his Instagram at Merritt_P. Follow me at my personal Instagram at KQuava624. Follow the podcast Instagram at the Manly Musings Pod. And take care. We'll see y'all soon.